Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a Rune and Tarot Divination for Thursday, the 28th day of April, 2022. Well, I had to reboot my computer. It was jumping around. The screen was jumping around. It did a little bit, I think the last time I did a video, it was doing that. And I think that I just said that's it. I'm going to go ahead and reboot the whole thing. I am going to keep the same runes though. I lost my train of thought on the reading, so I'll change up the cards. But I'm going to keep the same runes. But before we go into all of that, I wanted to go over today's esoteric influences from the weekly post over on the blog at Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. You can click on show more and scroll down and you'll see a bunch of different links, and you'll see that there too if you forget. So, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you'll click subscribe and join our little Tarot and Rune family. I do this Mondays and Thursdays, and then sometimes I do other videos in between, but I haven't in a while, but I intend to do that here before too long. Anyway, there's another post I put out on the blog other than the four I do that I post on Saturday nights. Those are more, that's numerology and astrology kinds of things. And also some correspondences for work in magic. I do that. This has to do with creating a magical herb garden in terms of the four directions, and so what to put in each section. So anyway, that was kind of fun to do. It was a little more involved than what I thought it was going to be, but it's like, oh my goodness. But I finished it and it's up, and so anyway. Let's take a look at today then for the 28th. The 28th gives us a one numerology, so new beginnings, leadership, independence, and uniqueness. The rune today in the esoteric influences is Othala, sacred space, inheritance, possessions, prosperity, loyalty, the Akash, protection, security, and tradition. It's the last rune of the Elder Futhark, the 24th. Geomancy rune today is populace, meaning crowd, people, or follower. The sun's in Taurus, the moon's in Aries, so some interesting energy there. And the planetary governance is Jupiter. So you typically enjoy working well with others, but your focus today might be off, and you may feel hesitant to express yourself with coworkers. It may be better to spend some time on your own instead of offering your own unique perspective, at least until you feel comfortable doing so. Review past accomplishments to be certain you're fulfilling your own goals and expectations. Assess any opposition you've experienced in a manner that leads to greater clarity. A collaborative experience is preferable as long as it's based upon higher principles and self-mastery. So think about that for today. Sometimes the runes I pull for the reading, I'm going to keep the two I have here from the two times I tried this already. They also are you see them in the esoteric influences for today. Now, the Elder Futhark rune is not the same, but populace, the Geomancy rune, is. So, but here's Birkenau for today. It means the birch tree. It's the mother rune. Can mean fertility, bringing something to fruition, which can mean the delivery of the baby, not really the pregnancy, but if you have a project or something you're working on, today might be a day where you complete that. You bring it to its end. Healing, wellness, protection, security, family are all part of Birkenau. And then we have populace. Again, people or the follower or the crowd. Can have something to do with Birkenau. And what struck me when I pulled this initially was the idea that families have been strained over the last few years, maybe the last 5 or 6 years, and they've become polarized to the point that maybe people don't talk to one another anymore. And so it feels to me like this is more of a bringing back together. Maybe people are finally just getting tired of that, and they want to reconnect with their family and be a little more aligned with the family, or at least the needs of the family, maybe. But we'll see where this goes with the cards. I've already shuffled these a bunch, so I'm just going to shuffle them 3 times and go ahead and take the first 3 cards. And if we need more, we'll take them, but usually we just use 3. Sometimes I do 4. Once in a blue moon, I will do 5. So Let's see what we get today. Okay, well, we have 2 cards from the Major Arcana and 1 from the Fire Element wands. Let's see. It's interesting because one of the major cards is the Empress. That's going to align very, very well with Birkenau, and Populace looks similar to the pillars of the Justice cards, so that's kind of interesting. But in terms of the other card we have is the 3 of Wands. I'm going to leave these in the order that they are because I have bookends here with the 3s. The Empress is the 3rd card from the Major Arcana, so we've got a 3 and a 3 and an 11 in the inside of it there. So I'm going to leave the order in this as it is. We may end up talking about it a little differently, but I like the pattern of it, so let's leave it where it is. Let's take a look at the 3 of Wands. Here we have a guy who's standing up high on some kind of a, I don't know, hill or something. You see 3 staffs. You see the brilliant orange sky. So there's something dynamic going on here. There's some energy to it. There's some vitality. There's new opportunity here. You see, let's see, is this one? I can't tell if, yeah. You see 3 little things that look like ships on the water. In a sense, he's there. You saw in the 2 of Wands, you see the same guy who's looking out over the expanse. He's got a globe in one hand, and he's like he's stepping through a doorway. Similar to here, you can look at these 2, this one and this one, as a doorway. He's holding on to one of the staffs though, but he again, just like in the 2, he's looking out, and he's in the 2 he's making a decision about the opportunities he's going to take, and then but with this one, with the 3, he's already made that decision, and here he is waiting for the new opportunities to come to fruition. Again, similar to Birkenau, all right, bringing something to fruition. And again, we also have the Empress is gonna mirror Birkenau as well, be a component of it as well, the mother principle. So, but let's move on here to Justice. Here we have Lady Justice sitting between 2 pillars. Again, kind of looks like that, doesn't it? But she sits in balance. She holds the sword in one hand in her right hand, and she holds the scales in her left. Now, justice can have something to do with legal situations, but it can also have to do with fairness and integrity and balance. Again, it can have something to do with the law, so maybe there's something with respect to the decision that you made. It can also be equilibrium, but it could also have something to do with some kind of legality surrounding the new opportunity, maybe. But again, equilibrium, decision, balanced reason. But it's coming from spirit. Your major arcana cards are considered soul archetype cards, and so there's an element of spirit in all of them. And since it's pointing towards spirit, that's where the higher awareness is coming. Also toward the light. It's an active principle shown by the red. So you're going to see the air element in this, basically. But you're also going to see a balance between will and intellect here. So a balance between, and that's where you get the red also is the will. But the yellow is going to be considered air, so, and also in this case spirit, although white is usually spirit, but because the sword's pointing upward, we're going to look at it that way. So this is a higher level of justice. The decision has to be made that you've made here, is, in other words, with Birkenau here, has to benefit the family. You can also see evidence of populace, the look of populace here as well. You can think of it maybe as a doorway into security, maybe, based on the opportunity that you've selected. Or maybe you've done more than one. Followed by the Empress, another 3 card. Threes are you think of 3, you think of the triangle, which is a very strong, foundational type of a platonic solid, if you will. But you see her lovely crown. She's holding a scepter in her right hand. She's actually considered, now you can't really see it here. There's some decks will show her being pregnant a little bit better than this one does. The Rider-Waite really doesn't. But you see she's got a lovely throne here. She's sort of reclining a little bit, but you can't really see that too much because she's turned toward us. But you see all the abundance around her. You see the glyph for Venus on her heart-shaped shield right there. And the Empress, she represents love, fertility, the mother aspect, again aligning well with Birkenau. The womb, abundance, she's a receptive presence, whereas the Emperor would be a projective presence. But she's about beauty and success. So here, she's indicating that whatever's happening on the other side with the other 3, that this is going to be successful. But again, you have to do things with a higher level of integrity for it to really benefit the family. In other words, it can't simply be about one person. It has to benefit everyone. The idea with populace is there's a group involved here. We may take another card though. So far my screen's not really jumping, so that's cool. Looks like my idea of rebooting was probably the trick here to make this work today. But you've got, let's see, 6 and 11. I don't like to reduce 11. 6 has an element of comfort and aid and guidance and a shared path and empathy and all of that with it. When you add the 3 and 3 together, you get 6. I don't really want to involve the 11 in with it, though, because 11 is a master number for illumination and awakening and enlightenment. So again, whatever opportunities that are coming your way need to benefit the collective, benefit the family, benefit the whole, benefit others, however you want to see that. If you say you're an employer, you want whatever choices you make for the company to benefit your staff, benefit your customers. So it's that type of feel to that, I think. And again, with the Empress here, we're talking about abundance and fertility and success. So again, doing it with a higher level of integrity, a higher level of principle. Let's take one more card though and see if there's anything else we can add to it. But I think with the 2 of wands, you see the same guy who's instead of 3 staffs, you see 2. He's turned the other way, and he's got a globe in one hand and the staff in the other. But the 2 together make it look like he's sort of stepped through a doorway or on the threshold of new opportunities, and and he's just trying to figure out what that's going to be. But then you go to the 3, the next card in the suit, and he's decided. Obviously, he's made that decision, and now he's waiting for his ship to come in, waiting for, in other words, the Birkenau of it, bringing something to fruition. But again, it could involve some legalities that need to be observed. There need to be the decisions need to be made with integrity and with an eye toward others and fairness and a higher level of awareness than with the 11 than simply the awareness that the ego is going to give. I'm going to take the 13th card. Well, we have the King of Pentacles. So again, whatever decision that you're going to make, again, has to be in service to others. Now, the kings are interesting because they can be really self-focused, but they also are the king. They're the father principle, like the emperor is. And even though they can have their own issues, essentially, even though his back is to the kingdom, it could represent an afterthought, but where he's really more about himself and he doesn't really care about the kingdom. But on the other hand, the King of Pentacles, above any of them, I think, is probably more concerned with gathering enough for everyone else. And when you have a strong male presence in the family and a strong female presence in the family as the authorities, as the parents, and they have children, whatever they're doing out in the world, for work or what have you, it's all in service to that family. They're not simply doing it for themselves. Although certainly there's that involved in it, clearly, especially if you're seeking advancement and all that. But that advancement doesn't just help you, it helps your family as well. So I think that again, it's going to strengthen the idea of justice, and also the Empress, in that whatever we're doing, whatever opportunity, the decision we've made about it, as dynamic as it might be for us, there has to be an element of family involved. And I think that it dovetails very well with both Birkenau and Populus today. So I guess overall what I would say is that whatever's happening for you today, opportunity-wise, just make sure you're doing whatever you're doing with integrity and with a higher purpose, and in full awareness of how that's going to impact your family or the family around you, whether it's your coworkers or the people that work for you or whatever. We'll just call that family, just as a overall. But remember that there's more people involved than just you. We get that with Populus. And again, if this is about healing the family, this might be one way to do it. Bringing people back together under the same umbrella, essentially. And trying to get people to understand that we're all in this together. There's a feeling of that here, especially with the Empress, about love and the abundance that love can bring. Just the emotional abundance, the shared path, with the 3 and 3 here equaling 6. There's a feeling there of the shared path. You see that in the 6 of Wands, where the king is coming back. He's on the horse. Everybody's walking alongside, but they're all going in the same direction. Doesn't mean you have to agree all the time, but at least you understand that you're a family and there's a direction to that. And you can set aside the differences to come together in love and harmony, and in a way that presents maybe a new opportunity for healing. You can look at it that way as well. This is typically looked at as financial, and in your career and all of that. But having the Empress here as well as justice, there's just a higher purpose there, especially with Birkenau, that we're doing this on behalf, in service to others instead of in service to self. So I guess that's it. I don't think we need to do any more. Again, think about what this might mean for you. Excuse me. Think about what this might mean for you in terms of your family and the choices that you're making. The new opportunity with the 3 of Wands could be having the new opportunity to heal whatever's happening in your family as well. And to think in terms of service to one another instead of being in conflict and at loggerheads and then creating the distance that's maybe been happening for you. I just say that because I think that that's been true for a lot of people the last few years. And eventually, I don't know, a lot of the time you don't even know what it was really about, or if you do remember what it was about, it just doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that you miss them and you want to come back and you want the family to be whole again. And so there's a sense of wholeness to this that's based on higher principles that are involved. Instead of letting ego control the narrative, it really needs to be spirit, the soul controlling the narrative. So have a wonderful weekend. And, if you can get together with your family, do so. And do so safely, because COVID's rising here and there again. So I guess it depends on where you live, but that's happening because it's not over. It's not going to probably ever be over at this point. We're going to be dealing with this for a very long time to come, I think. But it is what it is at this point. So take care of yourselves, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.